If you missed it live, then you're in luck. You're listening to the Hey Techies Rewind.
Well, we are proud to have tonight two of the Talladega DegaBot team members. And Haisten, right? I still said it wrong, didn't I? Put your mic up. So
it's Haisten.
Haisten. See?
See how it is.
We'll get it right.
We'll get it right by the end of the interview.
And then we have Cameron or Cami, either way, however you want it. And so we're glad to have them in studio tonight. Now, just a little backstory. Both of them, along with their other teammates, actually actually competed in Auburn for South's Best Robotics competition. And they represented this area along with two other teams, which was Donahoe School and then a school in Gadsden. It's a Christian Episcopal day school. So they also were competing there as well. So we wanted to have them on to sort of bring us up to date of the actual competition and where they ended up being and how that worked out. So I don't know what Guru's doing, taking pictures or something. His usual social.
No one else gets on social media side.
Yeah.
Michael does. Bruce does not. Sorry.
Well, that's okay. So, Haisten?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Bring up that mic closer to you, buddy. We'll give – she's going to get a chance. Okay, so you go down there. You get settled in. I guess the first day was the notebook. Is that right? Or the first day was the what was the first day interviews?
For Friday, we actually sent the notebook through FedEx.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Along with permission forms and stuff like that. Which a funny story about that, we actually had forgot about the permission forms, and we had to go around to every single person's house just a few days before and get their parents to sign them.
Oh, wow.
But Friday, we showed up, unpacked the bags at the hotel. Then we went to set up the booth and look at the playing field and pits and all that. And then Saturday was the competition.
Did you get to practice anything on the day before?
We got one practice round Saturday.
Oh, okay, the day of. Okay. So how did it go during the practice round? How did you feel okay about it at the time, or did?
Yes, sir. This is actually the first time we've ever not had a bad round. Our robot got at least 300 points each time, every round that we had. Previous years like last year, I really think we could have won if it wasn't for Noah Guzman flipped the robot going up the little ramp thing they had, and then one time I kicked it over when we were setting it down at the spotter's box, and I think we could have won that year. But this year we didn't have a single mistake or anything, and we just didn't score enough points.
Okay. Now, did you all decide? Going back to we saw you at Mall Day. That was earlier in the year. That was like November 1st. I think it was. And then you also had a competition at the Talladega Speedway where that was the competition where you were able to get in to go to Auburn, and that was on the 7th of November. And so did you change some things? You talked about maybe changing some things between what you found out there and the actual event?
Yes, sir. We had a basket. It just wasn't being utilized as much as we wanted it to, so we removed that so we could get the box, the copper cart better. And then we made some adjustments to our certain copper cart that we had made ourselves, so we were able to get the aluminum full because we knew it would go up in price at Auburn.
Yeah, okay, so tell us a little bit about the prices. How did that work?
So if all the other teams slack off on a certain item in the earlier rounds, like in the seeding rounds, then whoever moves on the semifinals, however much they slacked off on that certain item, the price will go up for it in semifinals and finals.
Okay. Now, Cami, so yeah, we'll just have to go back and forth with the microphone.
Sharing, Haisten.
So, what part did you help set up the booth? I would assume again. Did you do what you did before? Sort of be there at the booth and talk to different individuals as they came by. Is that how did the booth interview go?
At Auburn?
Yes.
It was actually really hectic for the first half of the day because most of the time the judges come around at random times, but at Auburn this year, at the very beginning of the day, they just came one right after another, and we had 5 judges, and there were times where like there would be 2 different judges in the booth at once, like talking to us about different things. It was a lot to like handle all at once, but after that it was just smooth sailing because we got it all out of the way at the beginning. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise.
Okay. How did you feel it went with the judges?
Well, we got our score sheets back from Auburn the other day, actually, and we got 9th place out of the entire 56 teams that were there. But it was really great because we had a lot of really nice judges that actually, cared about what we had to say. Sometimes you'll get a judge that just seems like you're talking to a wall, but we got really receptive, conversational judges, so that was great. And in past years, it's kind of nerve-wracking when you first start doing it because it's like you're being judged on what you're saying, and that can kind of cause some anxiety. But this year, myself and my friend Blues, who was working in it with me, you met her at local, we were both like just really confident, and it just went super smoothly.
Now, yours had towers that looked like Minecraft, right?
Yes.
Now, how many blocks did you say you thought was in there? I think you told us one time.
Gosh, Blues is going to kill me if I get this wrong because she knows it by heart. I want to say it's 22,500.
Yeah, that sounds
squares.
about, wow.
Yeah.
I remember you telling us you painted till you just couldn't paint anymore, pretty much.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I mean, they were really, y'all did a great job because they were really pixelized.
That was an amazing booth.
Thank you so much. We actually looked up photo references of the actual textures, and so we were cross-referencing, being like, okay, this specific pixel on this specific row is this exact shade of gray. So a lot of work went into it, and we're really proud of how it turned out.
Now, how about the business side of it, the business side interview? Do you know how that went? Did you talk to anyone who actually went to that when you pitched your idea before the committee?
The marketing presentation?
Yeah, the marketing presentation. Thank you.
Our marketing presentation team for this year was myself, Haisten, Nicholas Curley, who's a really good friend of mine, Amber Flowers, who I worked with in the booth, and Reagan Perkins.
The first one's a good friend. The second one, not so much. Just we work together.
That's not what I meant at all. But it went really well. To me, what?
And Reagan.
I said Reagan.
Oh, sorry.
He's trying to catch me. The marketing presentation went really well. It's always a little bit nerve-wracking because it's like super professional, and you have to make sure that you use, because the way I'm talking to you right now, I'm calling like our robot the robot, and the products used in the field, you would call them golf balls because that's what they actually were.
Right.
But because it takes place within sort of the lore of Best, and you have to act like you're selling a product, you have to refer to your members as employees and stuff like that.
Right.
Like, we create a little training field out of like wood and stuff to use for a robot. And I think we were calling it like the simulated training environment for our products. Like just all these like business words that like they'll catch you on, and it's just.
Now, did they, speaking of that, did you have a question?
I was going to say, when you say catch you on, do they count off for that if you use?
It really depends on the judge. It's very subjective, but acting like you're an actual company is a huge part of it. So if you do use sort of the layman's terms in the business presentation, sometimes they will count you off.
Okay. So, do they want you to use buzzwords or is it, like you said, it just kind of depends on what that person thinks you should be presenting?
They want you to use the in-game terms and call it like
gotcha.
Business stuff.
Gotcha. So part of that is just like knowing your audience and expecting that they know what this means, and you can say the more complicated term.
Yeah.
Whereas in general, when you're selling to somebody in the real world, you'd be selling to somebody who'd use it in layman terms.
Well, it's set up like the show Shark Tank. Like you're talking to potential investors in the industry. So.
Okay, so if they're in the industry, then they should know.
It's assumed that they know. Yeah.
You know what they say about assuming?
Yeah, it really does.
We got a shout out in the chat room. Some people are actually tuning in on our Google Hangout. So if you want to join us, heytechieshow.com. But anyway, Amber said that Anthony wants to tell y'all that he said hey, and he's watching too. So y'all got some followers. We've got like 10 people watching right now, and just in the Google Hangouts, which is a new record for us, I believe.
That's great.
And somebody else said, "Shock the nation."
Yes,
Shock it.
of course they are. Haisten.
Yes, sir.
You got it wrong again. Hasten. Not ing. No ing.
What?
Guy.
The other one.
Anyway, thanks for correcting me, Bruce. I really
Anytime.
appreciate it. Yeah, you're doing a great. Yeah, I think you made me forget my question. Thanks, I appreciate it very much. Yes. Now, so you got the robot on the track, and Noah, did he do most of the driving, or did you have to switch out? How does that work?
So everybody got to drive, I think, exactly 2 times. I was the first driver, and then it was Nick Pitts, and I think Noah was either 3rd or 4th. Noah is by far our best driver, like no doubt about it. He's the only one that can get the aluminum foil balls, and he did amazing. Like if nobody else would have competed but us, he would have got the top guy.
I got you. Now, what about the speaking of the aluminum foil balls, and that, just a little backstory. There were 5 particular products that you could pick up, and all 5 of these were actually ores that were in a mine, and their challenge was to get as many ores. Now, the ones you could get the most of was coal at any one time. You could get coal pretty quickly, and there was I think there was 32 pieces of coal or somewhere in the neighborhood. I think it was in the 30s. And, of course, if you got a lot of them, you shot the price way up. The next round, they were worth a lot less, and it just progressively went like that, right? So how far did y'all make it in on one of those near the final round, or how did that work?
We got into the semifinals, and we finished in 7th place overall out of the 55 teams.
Right.
Which, as I was telling you earlier, there's 4 hubs, and so if we came in 7th place, then we're at the worst 28th overall in the nation. Yeah. Out of hundreds of teams.
28th in the nation, folks, right here in East Alabama.
And that would be neat to see the breakout of that if they ever get it nationwide, where you fell within the different numbers. That would be interesting to see. Because I imagine it's tight once you consider there would be numbers falling all in line, sort of like racing. It would, they'd be real close at times. But the aluminum foil stood for one particular product. That's what I was trying to get back to. Did y'all get any of that out? It sounded because I didn't.
Noah got I think Noah got 4 of them.
Wow,
which isn't a lot, but when the
it was hard. I mean, if explaining for the listeners, it was under a lip of wood.
5 inches deep, too.
Yeah, 5 inches deep. So they were pushed back underneath a lip of wood that was barely off the ground, just off the floor enough that golf balls would fit underneath them. And then you would have to figure out something to go under there to pull them out and then get them back to your bin. So it was quite a challenge.
Yes, sir.
And each round is 3 minutes.
Right.
So, I mean, that seems like a lot of time, but I watched at the Central Alabama Best. It's just that time goes by just so quick. I know it has to when you're driving and or spotting. And what about the golf balls? Because they were in whatever, I don't know what ore they were referred to, but they were in that
magnetite.
Oh yeah, I was saying the wrong thing.
That was like balled up aluminum.
I was thinking the aluminum foil balls,
but the golf balls were in that tube, and you had to y'all picked it up on one end it was like a seesaw kind of thing, and we spilled them out, and then you had to get them up.
We lifted it with the same thing we used to lift the copper cart up with. So we just put the copper cart there that already has the PVC pieces in it, and then all the golf balls will go into that.
That was a very creative idea right there, because I didn't see anybody else at least the Central Alabama's Best they even got any of that ore at all.
There were a lot more people with the same exact strategy as Auburn.
Yeah, so, I figured that'd be the case. Yeah.
So how does it work between Central Alabama's Best and South's Best? How much changes can you make to your robot between the 2 different competitions? Is there rules regarding that?
No, I guess you could build a whole new robot if you really wanted to.
I didn't know if there was some sort of restrictions
you just have to use kit materials.
Okay, so you could, in theory, build it from scratch and have a whole new design in that couple-week span.
Yes, sir.
Wow. That'd be a lot of work, but I guess I don't know if people actually do that or not.
Well, if you found something that totally didn't work for you, but you were able to survive the previous game, I mean, but that'd be tough. The competition was tough as it was, right?
And again, how many weeks? How much time was it between when they announced the task to when you went to compete at at Talladega?
That was 6 weeks total time from the day we got the kit to the day of competition.
That's from knowing nothing other than they try to tease it, but you don't know what you got to do until that 6 weeks out. So you go from nothing to a functioning robot and a marketing presentation and a booth in 6 weeks, folks.
And we build the field ourselves too, so we can practice on it.
Are there rules on how much time y'all can spend doing that, or is like as long as you want to be awake?
As long as we want. We've stayed up at the school until 2 o'clock in the morning. So
Man, that's awesome.
That's dedication. Yeah, dedication, folks, right there.
Potential employers.
Absolutely.
Well, just painting all those blocks alone. I mean,
I was impressed with
forever.
the booth. I mean, not to mention the robot. When I saw the booth at the competition, we saw the robot at the mall day, but when we actually saw the booth, I was like, goodness, this is an awesome booth. I mean, the attention to detail was amazing.
Now, what about the ambience there, Cameron? Yeah, tell me a little bit about the ambience there, because I know that Albie, the Auburn Tiger, came out, and he was there.
The feel at Auburn is always crazy because even you saw it local, like that's
it was just 18
lot,
teams, and it was loud.
And the acoustics in the stadium at Auburn are like crazy, so it just amplifies everything. And you've got hundreds of kids who are all, the spirit and sportsmanship is a factor, so they're all trying to be the loudest and the most excited. And I didn't really get to see a lot of what was going on as far as mascots and things because I work the booth from the beginning to the end of competition. I didn't even get to see any other teams' booths at Auburn.
Wow.
Because Amber and I were working the entire time. But it's very exciting and also very exhausting because on the bus home, you're just ready to, drop out. It's so crazy and loud and you're always...
Now, I know it was Auburn, but where was it at exactly? What was the building? Was it at their basketball facility or?
It was at the Beard Eves Coliseum.
Okay. The Beard Eves Coliseum. Yeah, I've never been to Auburn, so I don't know much about it.
Oh, you're missing out, buddy.
It's a nice
Apparently. Town. Yeah, so they say. So anyway.
Reminds me a lot of our campus, just a lot larger.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've had some friends who've worked there before.
So did anybody from your school, your classmates, that like they did it at the Central Alabama's Best, did they come to root you on like they did at that competition? I know it's a good bit of a drive from Talladega to Auburn, but did y'all have a good turnout for your supporters?
A lot of parents came, and our marching band's drumline, they were at local. They did such a great job that the drumline came with us as well.
Awesome.
But since it's all the transportation and lodging and everything is funded by the team, we didn't have a lot of people who weren't on the team come with us.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that would be
reasons.
tough. Yeah. I
but
figured
did Big Diesel come? That's the question.
Of course he did.
Of course.
He's our security. We couldn't.
I just want to make sure. Y'all had security in place.
Diesel. Yeah.
If you want to know about Big Diesel, you got to go watch the video we have on our YouTube channel from the actual game day.
You can learn about Big Diesel.
Big Diesel's great.
He's awesome.
One time, actually, I was working late painting the squares, and I was parked on the other side of the school parking lot because I had just stayed after school, and my parking spot is at a different place in the mornings. And it was dark out, so he actually walked me to my car because I was like, important DegaBots property. I get hurt on the way to my car. It's so sweet.
Oh my!
Got your own Secret Service. Mm-hmm. It's awesome.
So I guess your mascot or somebody went down there with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
JT, what's his last name?
Jatavius Gooden, JT Gooden.
Okay.
We actually had pretty much the entire team come with us to Auburn, and JT and the band, they stayed in us with the hotel all 3 days because they put in a lot of effort too. So,
right.
The whole team did amazing this year, so we felt like it was important to take all of them.
Now, I'm only comparing what I remember from the actual at the Talladega Speedway, but the actual pit, it must have been really large to have. Was there several pits? I know that wasn't there more than one playing field?
Yes, this time there was 2 playing fields. They had, all right, so the pit in Talladega, imagine it, but there's 4 of them over on this side, and then there's 4 of them on this side.
Wow.
And then there's pre-staging, and then there's staging. And then there's this entrance, and they have strobe lights and they're playing crazy music, and you go out and they call your name because this year they had announcers. They were like hype man, pretty much. It was pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
Almost like WWF.
Sure.
Sure.
He doesn't watch that. He's too busy working on bots, man. So.
I don't watch it either, Bruce. But I know.
Sure.
But I know. No, I don't. But I know.
Racing, that's all
Yeah, you don't watch NASCAR either.
Actually, there was some kind of WWF guy on NASCAR the other day that he came out. I didn't even know who. I didn't know who it was, but he had came out and announced all the names. It was it was the last race, so it was a big deal. But anyway, somebody had said he was from one of those wrestling federation, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, but tonight, if you're just joining us, we do have two of the team members, and I think you're CEO, correct?
Yes, sir. I'm the CEO for this year, and we had a whole team vote on it, and Cami's the CEO for next year.
Oh, Cami's the CEO. So we've got this year's CEO and next year's CEO. So how do you feel about that?
I'm very excited, and this is I think it's the first year that we've had a vote for the CEO, so I'm really flattered that our members chose me. That makes me feel good that they put that much faith in me. But I am a little bit nervous because I do tend to get stressed easily. It's something I've had to work on with doing the notebook and stuff. So I'm going to have to make sure that I can manage my stress so I can lead efficiently.
Let me give you a piece of advice. Just find two other people you can blame for everything, and stress goes way down. I mean, one in particular. Just find that real one that just doesn't seem to care one way or the other, and it just just shoots down through the floor.
So you're saying I should elect a co-CEO, and then
you can call him whatever you want to. It doesn't really matter. It just helps. Just think of them as lightning rods.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, you stayed. You went down Saturday. I think you said that. Stayed Sunday. Now, what time did you have to get up there Sunday morning to be ready to go?
Too early. No, it was Yeah, you can take this if you want.
We left the hotel it was 8:00 when we left the hotel on Sunday morning to get back to the thing.
Yeah. Okay. So pretty early, and I guess it got started somewhere around. I mean, was it a late night? It went for a while, I would assume, with that many teams.
Well, we got out on Saturday, probably around probably about 8:00 or 9:00 that night.
Okay.
And then we had our curfew at the hotel was 11:00, so we had to be in the bed. But naturally, we all stayed up later than that once we got back in our rooms.
Yeah,
so we were pretty tired.
in your room. Yeah, yeah.
We got another message in the chat from Noah saying that you'll do great, Cami. We believe in you, and no co-CEO.
He doesn't want to be blamed. That's what it is. No co-CEO.
So,
smart Noah.
Noah's really sweet. Thank you, Noah.
Yeah. So now you're at the event, and we talked a little bit about the robot. So 8 teams could go at a time. But is it pretty much 8 teams going at one time? Because there was 2 playing fields, right?
Yes, sir. It's 8 teams at a
So
time.
did you have anybody going around keeping up with maybe who was, doing what? Maybe was there anybody that could kind of watch to see how prices were going up and down? Or
we don't really have to at Auburn. Our idea was that we don't even have to really worry about the market shift because everybody's going to be doing everything they can anyway.
Yeah.
Nobody, because this is every team's robot that scores the most points. And every team from each smaller hub had different things that helped them win because of the price shift. So everybody was going to get as much stuff as possible anyway. So might as well try to shoot for the moon.
Did you get anything in the middle? The hardest
no,
area? Okay. What about the actual filters? The filter, did you get to put the filter in? Did you get any bonus?
All we ever got was the aluminum foil balls, the copper cart, the golf balls, and the coal and the toilet paper.
Okay.
But a lot of teams were very successful at getting the air filter and replacing the broken pipe and even spodumene in the finals.
I don't think I saw anybody replace the broken pipe.
no, I saw the filter several times. Yeah. People could able to put the filter in, but not the pipe.
Yeah, the pipe you really had to have something special.
Oh, absolutely.
To put it in with. So
there are some very efficient machines there.
Yeah. Did you? Oh, speaking of that, I'm glad you brought that up. Did you see anything said, hey, that's an idea. We could take that back and kind of maybe change. I mean, I know you don't know what you're going to do next year, but it's going to be something that you're going to have something of these things. Maybe a claw, maybe a shovel, a pickup of something, and something to carry something back one way or the other, right?
Well, I mean, you could always think that, but Gatekeeper 2013,
yeah,
your robot was on a trolley. And the spotter would direct the trolley around, and you'd move it back and forth. So you wouldn't even need wheels. It wasn't even, allowed. And then 1 year, it was I don't know the name of it because I wasn't on the team that year, but it was something about repairing a satellite in space.
Oh.
And your robot had to. Do you know the name of it?
Warp.
Yeah, that sounds good.
The robot had to climb a pole and replace like 2-liter cans. Do you know more about this than I do?
Maybe. So we had to build a robot that could ascend, I think, a 10-foot pole. And the idea was like space repairs was the theme. And so there were things like 2-liter bottles and things like that you had to take down and exchange with replacements. And I mean, I don't know how they did that. I wasn't there for that year, but
Very carefully.
Very carefully, yeah. But yeah, so you never really know what you're going to get, and we're all really excited to see Bet the Farm is the theme for next year, and the teaser trailer featured a lot of symbolism of corn and hay bales, so we're really psyched to see what that's going to be.
All right, well, hang with us. We're going to have more from the DegaBot team. Be right back. Welcome back to the Hey Techies Show, and apparently...
Are you the apparently kid now?
Yeah. She's afraid of what I'm going to say, I think.
Apparently.
You done. See, why do you do that to me, Bruce?
To throw you off your game.
You're doing a great job, Bruce.
I was about to
What
say.
I was actually going to ask was this. How do you feel? Well, let me see exactly how to ask this. How did you feel when you got done? Did you feel, hey, we did what we thought we came to do? I mean, you wanted to win, obviously, but how did you feel about all the different pieces that you put together to make this happen?
I think she wants to say something about this too. But every time we get done with Auburn, I mean, we've never won, but we always do better than we did the last time. So there's that initial upset for about the first hour or so.
Sure.
But then you realize, how much you accomplished throughout the years and how all the memories you made and all that. So it actually works out for the better. But a trophy would be nice.
Oh, yeah. A trophy's always nice.
I have nothing to say.
Okay.
She has nothing to say on that? Well, okay.
No comment from the
comment
future
on.
CEO.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what about funding? I mean, I know y'all said y'all couldn't take as many people as you wanted to because of cost for hotels and stuff like that. I mean, do y'all do fundraisers throughout the year? How is this funded exactly?
This year, we were lucky because, and last year as well, me and my cousin, our uncle runs a few businesses, and he contributed to the robotics team. He was actually a mentor as well to us, but that's how we received majority of our funding this year.
Okay. So I would assume you got a call. So I would assume like the football team and just other, athletic teams, I don't know if they have like the quarterbacks club or something like that's how they get money to travel. Or if any of that's, I don't know, is any of that put in by the school system? If so, I think, this would be a good case to say, hey, we should start getting funding too.
There's actually a lot that goes into the funding from the school. The robotics, it's really expensive to do. Like if we were, all right, so when we had to get all of the very specific stuff from Lowe's to build the playing field, it was like $800. And that's money that could be used on new software or books or something. And since, our annual tradition with our playing fields to burn it to like every year once we get done, it releases all our frustrations. That doesn't really seem like $800 well spent to them. That's just my opinion on it.
I mean, coming from having to do stuff like that, I would say that's money perfectly spent. I'm done with this. Burn it down.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it'd be good if I don't know what high schools can do as far as like GoFundMe or just crowdsourcing.
I think Pleasant Valley, they did like a GoFundMe or something, one of those crowdfunding.
Or just having sponsors, and then if there's any rules against slapping somebody's logo on there.
We have my uncle Kevin. Shout out to him. You're awesome. But he runs multiple companies. This year we put the Tom's Mill logo on ours and the Training Wheel logo on ours last year.
Cool.
Awesome. We just got a call, and they didn't want to talk on air, but Cami, it was your grandparents from Georgia. They are listening online. I believe they're watching the Google Hangouts live stream, and they're very proud of you, and they are joining us tonight. So they want to make sure you heard that on air.
Oh, hi, Grandma and Grandpa. Oh my goodness, I got my hair dyed blue like a week ago, and this is the first time I'm seeing it.
The Hey Techies Show, bringing people together
That's right.
across the
That's
state.
Great.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of Shock the Nation shout outs in the chat room too. So,
go ahead, Bruce. Bruce, you got a question.
I was just gonna say, so since you're the CEO of next year, have you already started planning and prepping? Got stuff down, or you just trying to take a breather?
I mean, I have some thoughts, but you don't want to get anything too set in stone because it's not for another year, and you don't know how things are going to change in between seasons. But I have a few ideas on how things are going to be different. Not big ones, but
But the problem you don't know what's going to be the actual event yet, right? I mean, there's no idea yet to know, right?
That's true, but I was more talking about ideas with streamlining communication and better time management,
That's
things
good.
like that.
That's what you're talking about, huh, Bruce? Good question.
But it all goes back to, because I think before the break you mentioned what they've give you the theme for next year, kind of like a teaser, I suppose.
Yes.
But that's all you know. That's all you will know until that 6 weeks out point.
That's correct.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was Pay Dirt this year. So
Yes.
did they give them the name?
You mentioned that before the break, didn't you? The name?
Yes, the theme for next year is Bet the Farm, and
Oh,
they
okay.
showed
The farm.
a minute or two long teaser video that has corn, hay bales, cows, crop dusters.
It was awesome.
We're excited and nervous about next year. It looks like it's going to be quite a doozy.
Okay.
But you try to overanalyze probably the teaser video to try to figure out kind of some 30,000 foot view of what we think our robot needs to do, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, you really can't do a whole lot until you get some more definitive information, but still can kind of think about it, correct?
Yeah, we have a ton of analyzation. Like last year, the theme was Blade Runner, and our CEO for that year actually watched the movie Blade Runner like 4 times trying to get like any idea he could, and then ended up having nothing to do with the film. It was about windmills. But we do anything we can to try and puzzle it out.
Yeah, Noah did tell us that the teaser video is on bestinc.org on the best site. So we'll put a link to that in the show notes for those who are interested. I know I want to watch it too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, it seems like, if I'm not mistaken, the previous year, and I know we were talking about this year, but there's nothing wrong with talking about the previous year. The previous year was something about that you had to pick up, like you could run over was it save the chickens or save something?
You can if you want.
Okay, so it was Blade Runner.
Okay.
And
Blade Runner.
the way that it was set up was you start off over here. All right, well, you start off, and to your immediate left, there are just foam pieces that have a little PVC tee on the end of them. And then there's 3 entryways, one over a gate, and then one through like a jagged plywood, and then another one that has this thing called the permit that you have. It's just a piece of wood you have to knock off a slab, and that's a tiebreaker. In front of each one of these is a big PVC pipe thing that are chickens, quote unquote, that you want to try not to kill, but we just ran them over because they're only worth 3 points, so it just wastes time. So what we did was, and then there's windmills over there you need to assemble, and there's an nacelle that you hook up to one of the windmills. So what we did was we'd take the blades over there, assemble windmill 1, come back and get the nacelle, and assemble windmill 2.
With a robot,
Yes,
you
sir.
had to assemble.
So the spotter would assemble it and like put the blades in the places, but the robot had to insert the parts.
Okay. So you still had 3 minutes in those rounds like you did with this
Yes,
year,
sir.
correct? It's always 3 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Wow. That is amazing. That's what gets me is the 3 minutes. It seems like an eternity when you think about 3 minutes, but it's not when you're actually competing. And I wasn't even the one driving or doing anything. I was just watching. I was like, this is going about too quick.
So, back to the actual Auburn event. I know we asked this. Could you give a little brief description of what the book covers, just for some of our listeners, if you don't mind? Just you don't have to give the whole thing, but
the notebook.
Yeah, the notebook. Yeah.
Basically, it's a technical document that describes everything that was done to the robot. Why? Like, you even have to include things that you didn't end up including on your final product. Like, we thought about doing this kind of wheels, but we didn't for this reason. You outline your entire strategy, your safety regulations. You include your CAD or computer-aided design blueprints, things like that. Just everything that you would need to know about our team or our robot in general.
Okay.
It's quite a hefty document. I think ours this year was 40 pages.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it seems like that it would be almost overwhelming to try to put something on like this, but I know that it helps to have such a great base team members. And if you have that, y'all been doing this for several years now, so you kind of a veteran on knowing what to expect. I know you've got great instructors. Now, who's your main teacher?
Joseph Huss.
Okay, and he has people that help him. I know I talked to Ursary. Go ahead.
He really has no one that helps him beside his wife. That's just my opinion on it. Mr. Ursary is there for support a little bit, but Joseph, Mr. Huss, stays after with us every day. He was even up there on Thanksgiving, and he's up there every year on Christmas, and he does it all by himself, like everything. So
speaking of Mr. Huss, he is listening on the Google Hangout, and he posted something he wants me to read on air. He said, "I love you guys. I'm glad to be your coach and very proud of all you have accomplished."
Aww.
Thanks, Mr. Huss.
But I want to ask y'all a question.
We got to go to break.
Oh, we got to go to break. I'll ask it after the break.
Yeah,
I got another question.
What time we got left?
We got about a minute.
Okay. We got about a minute. All right. Well, we're going to be cutting the break here pretty soon, and I think we got maybe just a couple more questions, and we'll get them around the other side, and then we'll let you guys get on to your night. But I just wanted to tell you I appreciate y'all being here tonight, and it's been really enjoyable, and we appreciate y'all having y'all on. But hope everybody hangs on. We'll be back in just a few minutes here.
Yes, kind of stretch it. We got about 30 more seconds.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I don't have my clock up
tonight,
don't
have your clock up.
Yeah, I'm just hanging on, I guess. So anyway, well, if you don't know, let me just do this real quick. If you want to rewatch the show, you can do that on HeyTechiesShow.com later. The hangout will be there as well, and you can get all the information at HeyTechiesShow.com about our show. Be able to see both of them again and listen to the show. We'll also have the podcast later, probably tomorrow.
Yeah, please make sure you go to the YouTube channel, because we have full video coverage from Mall Day and Game Day, where the DegaBots and other teams are covered as well. So check that out.
So anyway, we'll be right back. Hey Techies Show rolls along. Welcome back into the Hey Techies Show, and we've lost Bruce. I think he had to step out for a few minutes, but as we come back in the second hour, we still have with us Haisten and Cami, and they're joining still with us here at the Hey Techies Show, and they're going to be here for just a couple more minutes, a little segment here. So, Chris had a very poignant question he wanted to ask, and we'll just go straight to that.
Yeah, I was curious, both of y'all, how you got started in the robotics team at Talladega.
I was in Mr. Huss's precision machining class.
Right.
And then the next semester, I was randomly put in his robotics class. But I'm glad that happened.
Okay.
My parents and my family have always...
Oh,
Oh, goodness. Oh, gosh. Technical difficulties.
Maybe they'll stay right there. Sorry.
Mr. Huss is actually a family friend.
Okay.
So I was already sort of familiar with robotics, and then my older brother actually joined the team and was on it for a year, maybe two. So
okay.
My parents told me about it, and my dad's a paramedic, so he was there at the competitions in case of any like accidents or anything. So they told me about how exciting it was and stuff. So I decided to join it my freshman year, and I'm so glad I did.
So you've been doing it since you were in 9th grade, so now you're about to be a senior next year.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad they offer this kind of stuff in school now because, like, I've said this before to Michael, if they'd offered robotics when I was in high school, I'd have been all on it.
Yeah.
All we had was, like, typing classes, and I think we had auto body. You could take that as a career tech field, or, like, you know, the healthcare, health occupation. That was, like, all the choices I had at the high school I went to. So I did all the computer nerd stuff, obviously. But, anyway, that's awesome that they have these opportunities now. Yeah. Because there's a lack of, you know, engineering people coming out of college and the jobs are there, folks. Anything that's STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, the jobs are there, folks.
So go ahead. No, please.
I'll be honest. I'm not an engineer. I'm not good with building or driving, so I wasn't sure if robotics would be a good fit for me. But once I joined and I found out about the notebook and the presentation and the booth, all of a sudden,
and that's another good thing. You don't have to be the engineer or want to be a robotics builder. There's other components where it's more. It's because these are run like a business. So there's marketing. There's management. There's all these other areas. You learn these life skills.
Yeah, right.
But I got another question, kind of a follow-up. Do y'all know what you want to do when you go to college? I know, Haisten, you're a senior this year, and Cami, you're a junior, so you still got some time to decide. Have y'all decided what you want to do once you get out of high school and actually go towards a career?
I've been toying with a lot of thoughts. I'm not 100% sure, but I've been thinking about going into marketing and advertising.
Okay.
But I also am very interested in just business in general, and I know that actually here has really good business section. So I've actually been thinking about going here for college.
Oh, awesome.
So it was cool that I got to come up here.
My plan is to go to Central Alabama Community College for precision machining and engineering, and then maybe transfer to a 4-year and get a job in engineering while going to that college.
Awesome.
Okay.
Listen, we have some great schools in this part of the state, though. From all no matter what you want to do,
right?
Yeah,
I agree with that.
We mentioned too right here on air. We got another chat message from Noah. Said, "Tell Cami, Noah said, hey, everyone has their roles, and that she did great this year, and that I'm glad that she's on the team."
The everyone has their roles thing is a thing that Noah says a lot.
Okay.
It started. We were working on the practice field, and I decided that I wanted to try driving the robot for the first time, and it was just an absolute catastrophe, and I was upset about it. And he was just like, hey, everybody has their roles. This just isn't yours.
Right.
So now he says it all the time just to mean that,
well, and that's in the real world, that you have your job and your thing to do. It takes everybody. It takes a village. So.
Okay.
To raise a robot child.
We definitely wouldn't want Noah to write the notebook. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd be terrible at the marketing stuff, but I'd like to tinker with the stuff. So it takes all different types of folks. So.
Yeah. Well, it was really good to have you all tonight. We appreciate it
thank you so much. And thank you for I unplugged my headset, but thank you so much for coming down here in studio. We appreciate
you guys having us on the show.
Oh, yeah. It's our pleasure. It really is. And Bruce is so appreciative of it, I know.
Hey, can I give one more shout out?
Absolutely.
If Danny and Miss Nancy from Central Alabama Community College are listening, you guys are amazing, and you guys put on the best robotics competition.
Yeah, we should definitely thank
them. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Not the best robotics, like best.
Best. Yes.
Yeah, definitely thank Danny and Miss Nancy.
They were. The hospitality they opened up to us.
Yes.
It was unbelievable.
It was beyond what I was expecting.
Yeah,
no question about it. Yeah, it was a first class. No question. Central Alabama. Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, well, we thank both of you for being here tonight, and y'all did a wonderful job. And I think when you listen back to it, you'll appreciate how great. Except for the fact that you had to move a microphone back and forth. We apologize for that.
Yeah, sorry.
But there's just no other way around it in this small studio. So anyway, well, hey, have a Merry Christmas. And I hope you have a very happy New Year. So anyway, I think we're just going to cut on to break here. We're going to do an early break, and we'll catch it back up because we got a lot to cover when we get back out. So thank you so much for being with us tonight.